Today, I'm getting out of the rat race and heading for the hills. Everglades House and Gardens span over 5 hectares on Gundungurra land in the World Heritage listed Blue Mountains. A garden from a bygone era, it's currently owned and cared for by the National Trust New South Wales. Simon.
Costa, nice to see you. Welcome to Everglades.
Great to meet you. Wow, it's breathtaking.
It's not a bad place to work.
Simon Cooper is the head gardener. So, compared to Sydney, this is a cool climate garden.
It is. So we're about 1,000 metres above sea level, above Sydney there, and roughly 5 to 6 degrees cooler. Plant accordingly to our elevation and temperature, and we've got some classic cool climate plants like the Terraces and some beautiful old maples as well, and they've become a really beautiful part of the garden.
The garden was designed by Paul Sorenson. He created over 100 gardens during his career, but he's best known for Everglades, built in the 1930s.
There's a hell of a slope that comes down this property, so it's all been terraced out to create these rooms, and they're all held back by these magnificent stone walls.
The work that's gone into them, and they're so incredibly straight after all these years.
This one is probably my favourite wall on the property, about 30 metres long.
The way that each of those holes has a natural curved piece of stone, it looks like they're actually pieces of pipe.
It does. I think he went to a lot of thought in doing this part of the wall, just to create these little domes for planting in, little amphitheatres of stone.
It's all leading to this.
It is. So probably another focal point in Sorenson's design of the garden. So it comes down to this very large urn, which is in front of one of the significant trees in the garden. There's wych elm, which is one of the early original plantings, and they're a little bit rare, a little bit hard to find. Under the urn here, under this elm, we've got this lovely ground-covering juga with the tall purple spikes, and that can be found throughout the garden. Barely maintain it, and it'll spread very, very happily, either in the shade or in the sun.
So who was the owner of this place?
The owner was Henri Van de Velde. He is a Belgian born entrepreneur. He bought the property in 1932, 1933, and basically started building a house and garden as a weekender.
Wow, a weekender. Was Sorenson given a free rein in terms of the design?
To a point. He and Van de Velde would consult regularly on their views of the garden and what they wanted to see. Sorenson commissioned this kind of artwork in the courtyard of these wrought iron panels that would tell the story of Van de Velde's Sealyham Terriers. He also had peacocks in the garden, and the dogs used to chase the peacocks, terrorising the peacocks, and then Mr. Van de Velde with his golf clubs chasing the dogs away from the peacocks, and he would catch them and he would lock the dogs up.
And while there's plenty of the personal packed into this place, these days the house and gardens are open to everyone to come and have a look at the grand design. Where in the world do you get to frame anything remotely as spectacular?
Not many places. I think one of Sorenson's design points for this area of the garden is he couldn't really compete or didn't want to compete with the grandeur of the valley. That is one of the main focal points in the garden, one of the most popular spots, as you could probably tell by the lawn. It's all worn in front of that window. And because it frames, you've got an automatic picture.
Beautiful space, but what about all of the moss? This wall is amazing. It's like it's alive.
It's really...
Our tour continues deep into the Everglades estate.
This is the very lower end, almost the very lower end of the garden, so it's the southern end.
So what was Sorenson's intention for this part of the garden?
He had an influence by Japanese gardens at this point. He did do some of it while he was here, and other gardeners along the way have continued that vision.
I mean, there's a massive amount of structural work going with the the creek line and all the stone.
It is. So these are thought to be all hand-picked and hand-laid to create this little meandering watercourse. There's rock tubes for the water to go through and small little waterfalls and pools. The way that the maples kind of hang over the watercourse as well, it's a great look.
Looking out over the glade area, the eucalypts are just stunning with the grass beneath them.
They do stand out. You've got the nice lush green grass, but then you've got the white stem of the eucalypts, and they complement the area quite well. And we are doing our best to retain as many natives down in this area as we can. In the event where we can actually leave a dead or a dying tree, we'll try and do that to create habitat. So instead of removing the entire tree, we'll just remove the canopy and create a few small slits higher up for microbats. There's hollows for possums and birds as well.
The Banksia there is such a feature.
It is, so it's quite an old specimen. Kind of matches in with the stonework as well. They kind of look almost the same, the bark and the stone. It could almost be a stone tree standing in the glades.
This is quite the view.
It is.
Looking down, listening to the water, seeing the rocks. How did it come about?
At the end of the 1930s into the 40s, Sorenson was down here with his workmen, digging a lot of this grotto pool out, all the soil and the rock, and then somehow managed to put a 40-ton boulder at the end to dam the pool and create this naturalistic part of the garden.
From up here, you just feel like it was always there.
So we've got a lot of ferns, so we've got king ferns and the tree ferns, and we've got dudea ferns as well, but on the rock face we've got the rock springilia or Springilia monticola.
With the little white flowers.
With the tiny little white flowers. It's a native to this area of the mountains, a bit rare and a bit special, and it likes to hang on these sandstone walls.
And further along, a cluster of towering exotic trees return us to the European roots of this garden. This part of the garden has such a different feel. There's so many large trees.
It's a tight grove of planting of conifers and the occasional oak. So this is the Alpine area of the garden. It was created basically to mimic what Alpine area in the European environment looked like. They do look good when they're planted in a grove like this. It's a bit more naturalistic than having one feature tree out by itself, and we're doing our best to maintain them and keep them in a healthy condition.
And this was Sorenson's vision, and now you're maintaining it.
We're keeping it in perpetuity for generations to come, hopefully, as best as we can.
For me, Everglades is a place to let the imagination run wild, to ponder, to wander, and to incubate the next big idea in my own little patch.